Hello everyone, let's review the results of January's 3-card blind main event tournament. This month we had 331 participants, 58 of which were brand new players to the event. If you're a new player watching this video right now, thank you for trying the format, and I hope to see you again in the coming months. Among the 331 deck submissions, there were 221 unique decks. If we weigh these cards in their decks by their performance and run them through the Simpsons Diversity Index, we see that this month was a marginal decrease in diversity compared to the prior month. That being said, this month did have a reasonably diverse meta. The 3-card blind diversity grade for this month is a B+. This month was defined by two impactful unbans, Daze and Shrieking Affliction. Daze was the second most popular card this month, right behind Sleep Curse Fairy, which was the most popular pairing for Daze. Despite its popularity, Daze actually underperformed. Players came well prepared to play against Daze, and the card has weaknesses that can be exploited without actually compromising your own game plan that much. Having extra mana available through something like a storage land, or simply bringing multiple threats to the table is more than enough to overwhelm Daze decks. Shrieking Affliction was the third most popular card this month and performed more respectably than Daze did. Compared to Daze, Shrieking Affliction has many more options for pairings, and this makes it a more challenging card to try to play around, because being prepared for Shrieking Affliction doesn't necessarily mean you're prepared to deal with the card that it's paired with. There were even some players that opted to use a storage land with Shrieking Affliction acting as a defensive piece while they stalled out the game to deploy their big threat. Whether or not you came prepared to play against Daze and Shrieking Affliction played a significant role in how you performed this month, and I think now would be a great time to jump into discussing our winners while we continue to explore the nuances of this meta. In Novice 3, we had a tie between Dragoncat 224 and Pac-Man MTG. Dragoncat 224 was playing Fountain of Cho, Maze of Ith, and the Wandering Emperor. Angel of Sanctions was banned last month, which has opened up the playing field a bit for storage land decks to consider other payoffs. The Wandering Emperor is a great alternative because it is a must-answer threat that is effective at defending itself and can remove your opponent's creatures in a pinch. Maze of Ith also works particularly well with Planeswalkers because it acts as an additional blocker you can use to defend them. Pac-Man MTG was playing Luminarch Aspirant, and Remote Farm. With Daze being a critical part of the meta, depletion land decks needed to be prepared to lose one of their spells to Daze and still be able to win the game with the remaining one. Luminarch Aspirant has been a staple of the format for a long time now, and it is probably the best legal 2-drop right now. With redundancy and brute force looking like winning strategies, bringing 2 Luminarch Aspirants to the table was a great choice. In Novice 2, our winner was PJ, who was playing Acacian Store, Island Sanctuary, and Starnheim Unleashed. Compared to Maze of Ith, Island Sanctuary better protects you from go-wide strategies. Starnheim Unleashed is an unconventional storage land payoff, but it proved to be very effective into this pod. In Novice 1, our winner was Jetty, who was playing Assassin's Trophy, Golgari Rot Farm, and Treetop Village. This is a deck we've talked about many times on this channel, and it continues to prove that the ability to destroy any permanent is a very powerful one. In Aspirant 4, our winner was Cater Girl, who was playing Luminarch Aspirant, and Remote Farm. And Cater Girl has made 3-card blind history by being the first player to score a 100% perfect score into a full-sized pod. Against 19 opponents, this deck didn't drop so much as a single game. In Aspirant 3, we had a tie between Chamels and Miamos. Chamels was playing Bayou, Dragon Sniper, and Shrieking Affliction. Shrieking Affliction requires you to have an additional threat to force your opponent to actually play cards out of their hand to turn it online. Dragon Sniper is an interesting pairing because it's able to attack and pressure the opponent while also threatening to trade with any creature that attacks back. Dragon Sniper can't be ignored, but if your opponent is forced to trade, they have to then be able to outrace Shrieking Affliction with their remaining cards. Miamos was playing Acacian Store, Maze of Ith, and United Front. United Front is another unconventional storage land payoff, which perhaps is an indication that the Angel of Sanctions ban created some room for players to be more creative about which cards they chose to run in these types of decks. In Aspirant 2, our winner was Telf, who was playing Bottomless Vault, Smallpox, and Ulamog the Infinite Gyre. This deck can play Smallpox on turn 4, losing its own bottomless vault, but because you discard Ulamog and Ulamog has a reshuffle trigger, you can redeploy your entire deck and start again. After being broken down by Smallpox, you will inevitably be able to play Ulamog to close out the game. In Aspirant 1, our winner was Soren Markov, who was playing March from the Black Gate, Moxjet, and Mutavault. Because Mutavault is an army while animated, you're able to double dip on the March from the Black Gate trigger that happens whenever you attack with an army. This means that both the token and the Mutavault will be growing, allowing you to threaten a turn 4 win. In Contender 7, our winner was Starlock, who was playing Crystal Vein, Mox Pearl, and Soldier Military Program. This deck allows you to enjoy the benefits of playing both a go wide and go tall strategy while being removal resistant and able to win games that drag on. I expect this card will continue to be a significant part of metas in upcoming months. In Contender 6, our winner was Space Godzilla Fan, who was playing Crystal Vein, Legion Warboss, and Mox Ruby. Before Mana Crypt was banned last month, players were using a similar deck with Gut True Soul Zealot at the helm. Legion Warboss is more vulnerable to blockers because the tokens it produces don't have any form of evasion, but this is still a very aggressive deck capable of winning the game by the 4th turn. In Contender 5, we had a 3-way tie between Hopping Moon, K-Sword 44, and Faz the Pauper, who were all playing Luminarch Aspirant, Luminarch Aspirant, and Remote Farm. You're going to be hearing Luminarch Aspirant a lot this video, so you might as well get used to hearing it now. In Contender 4, our winner was Strawberries, who was playing Luminarch Aspirant, Luminarch Aspirant, and Remote Farm. I wonder if there are any outliers this month that might be good candidates to be added to the ban list. In Contender 3, our winner was Paper Devil, who was playing Bloodhall Ooze, Leyline of the Guild Pact, and the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. Leyline of the Guild Pact allows you to tap the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale for mana, which lets you deploy your strategy, but also allows you to pay for the Tabernacle's own upkeep costs using the card itself. And Bloodhall Ooze sees the Leyline of the Guild Pact as a permanent that is both green and black, so it grows at a rate of +2/+2 per turn, making it a very formidable threat. In Contender 2, our winner was Off to Lunch, who was playing Luminarch Aspirant, and Remote Farm. I bet you thought we were done talking about this deck, but here it is again. Although we've touched on it being a great counter to Day's decks, it's also worth mentioning that Luminarch Aspirant just stands alone as a very powerful card that can beat decks outright. One of the biggest weaknesses of this deck might actually be the land as a point of vulnerability. There weren't that many players trying to punish depletion lands this month, which contributed to the success of this deck. In Contender 1, our winner was Ramsey Fox, who was playing Haywire Might, Pendelhaven, and Thalid. Although in some matches Haywire Might is a dead card, in others it is a lifesaver, giving you a fighting chance against Soldier Military Program and Shrieking Affliction decks. And the combination of Pendelhaven and Thalid is a potent one that allows your Saprolings to punch up, threatening to trade with or outrace creatures that are ordinarily stronger than them. And finally, in Exemplar, our winner was Epsilon Greater Than Zero, who was playing Field of Ruin, Peat Bog, and Unstoppable Slasher. Most players are going to be familiar with Unstoppable Slasher as an all-in threat cast off of Dark Ritual, and as a matter of fact, we had 2 players tied for 3rd in this pod running this strategy, which is capable of winning on turn 4. Epsilon sacrificed speed for the ability to interact with opponents' lands. With several players in this pod running depletion lands and storage lands, this proved to be an excellent meta call, which has earned Epsilon Greater Than Zero the title of champion with an impressive 1860 ELO rating. And with that, I'd like to congratulate all of our winners one more time before we move on to discussing this month's banned list updates. This month, the community voted on 7 cards, and of those 7 cards, Luminarch Aspirant, Unstoppable Slasher, Ba Sing Se, March from the Black Gate, and Bloodhall Ooze are all being added to the banned list. Let's begin by looking at our 2 recently unbanned cards that the community voted to keep around for at least another month. Days had a clear majority of players who wanted the card to stay around, and it's not hard to see why, given that the card performed entirely unexceptionally. I believe the card is very powerful, but I think its popularity this month indicated that some players underestimated how easy it is to exploit its weaknesses. I suspect over the coming few months we will see the card become less popular, but begin to have a higher win rate as fewer players go out of their way to try to counter it. The community was a little more split on Shrieking Affliction, but ultimately leaned in favor of keeping it legal. I think the fact that there was a high variety of pairings used with Shrieking Affliction is an indication that there's still lots for brewers to explore with this card. All in all, I thought these were pretty interesting unbans, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things shake out over the next couple of months. Luminarch Aspirant was by far the least favorably voted on card this month. With it winning so many pods and it already having been established as possibly the best 2-drop in the format even prior to this month, it would be difficult to offer a defense for why this card shouldn't be banned. I think it's also interesting that in past months we've seen Luminarch Aspirant used in a variety of decks. Whether those decks were using a Mox and a man land, a removal spell, or a utility 2-drop, Luminarch Aspirant had homes in many decks due to it just being a generically powerful card. In this month, however, there were no other decks submitted with Luminarch Aspirant other than the double Luminarch Aspirant deck. I think it is safe to say that the community will appreciate a break from this card. Unstoppable Slasher is finally banned. This has been one of the most popular write-ins on the ban vote form ever since it was printed. It has been the strongest threat you can cast off of a Dark Ritual for a long time now, edging out cards like Rotting Regisaur and Master of the Feast. Our new champion demonstrated that this card is powerful at the highest levels of the format, but also isn't limited to just its Dark Ritual shell. I think this ultimately pushed some community members over the edge to decide that it truly was worth banning. Ba Sing Se might be a card that you're surprised is being banned because it didn't come up at all in this video. The card was in many second and third place positions in pods, in combination with Sunken Citadel, Blast Zone, Helios 1, Field of Ruin, and even Treetop Village. These decks are resilient, scale fast, and can even pack utility to disrupt their opponents. We've seen the card put up strong performances for 2 months in a row now, and the community skewed in favor of putting the card on the ban list. March from the Black Gate was supporting one of the most aggressive strategies in the format. It has been a significant deck to consider at top ranks for a long time now, and it continued to prove its effectiveness this month. With one more ultra-fast threat being added to the ban list, we may get to see slower decks afforded more of a place in the meta. And finally, we have Bloodhall Ooze, which among the cards being added to the ban list was the most favorably voted on. Although we already discussed a winning deck where it was using the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, the deck can also use Maze of Ith, so it's had potential both in metas where it needs to be able to answer go-wide strategies, as well as ones where it needs to answer other large single threats. The combination of Leyline of the Guild-Pact and either the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale or Maze of Ith is still functional, but with Bloodhall Ooze out of the picture, it might just be more worthwhile to run a standard mana source with your utility land on the side. And before we wrap up here, I did want to cover the outcome of the unban vote that supporters of this community have the privilege of participating in. Among the 10 cards that were eligible for unbans this month, none of them received enough support to be removed from the ban list. And with that, you now have all of the information you need to start brewing for February's main event. Lorwyn Eclipse will be legal in the format for the first time, and as usual, deck submission will be through the website linked in the description of this video between the 1st and the 7th of the month. Happy brewing, everyone. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you soon.